Okay. Because that's the whole point of this right here, right now. Because see, this is the thing. I guess we can feel like we can keep coming up with excuses to give to God for some reason. Like we're going to go to God and say, well, I didn't know that. Don't lie. You know right from wrong. Right now. You know what bad things are you're doing. And you feel bad after you do it. Some do, some don't. Some people don't care about the hurt they cause other people. But then there's some people that look forward to making people miserable. And you can see that's the kind of heart that God put in them. Because like I said, he created the evil for the wicked. So it's always going to be that one God thing. No one's bigger than them. No one's stronger than them. No one's better than them. You must always and forevermore remember there is still a God. Every knee will bow. Every tongue shall confess. You have no other option. So knowing that every knee will bow then, why don't you get yourself to a different position in mind? To humble yourselves down as a child when Jesus so said that unless we come as a child, we shall in no case enter into the kingdom. You ain't going to get into heaven with your own way of thinking. You just saw what happened when we think about things. We go against God. Adam and Eve is the perfect example. They knew the commandments. We read that. We knew it so well, we even repeated what God told us. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. She remembered that. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. She remembered that. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. That right there should have been a warning sign. Walk away. But see, you got to teach your children that, though. Because if you don't teach your children that when you hear a lie, flee. But how would they know if it's a lie if they don't know the truth? Here you have them where they knew the truth and still chose a lie. That is how temptation is crazy. And I love how God explained it like this. Pride is hateful before God. Why is that? Because pride is the beginning of sin. A prideful heart will never make it with God. So if you're that person that's real prideful, that you think you know it all and can't be helped in no way, form, or fashion in this life, you have a bad thing coming. A really rude awakening coming. For pride is the beginning of sin, as well as God says it is hateful in his eyes. You won't win that way. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. This is the Bible telling you, not me. So your life is your testimony. Is your life telling people that God is real, or is your life telling people that God is Jesus? Because see, that is the sin that every man got to deal with now. Because if you believe in God, you know who Jesus is, because God told you who he was. And you ain't going to question it, you're going to listen to him. So if you have a different opinion than God himself, who going to lose? You or God? And that is the honest question that deserves an honest answer. Because when you answer that question, you understand your understanding now. Because if you think your answers are going to overpower his, God forbid. So, as Adam and Eve had a choice to make, so do we. And if we heard that God tells you that pride is the beginning of sin, that means my own selfish lust, which is mentioned here in the book of James, chapter 1. Here we go. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust, your own lust, and enticed. Then when lust had conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. You got something coming. You just don't see it. So if you're not believing that God is God and his son is who he say he is, you face destruction and don't see it coming. Because it takes a prideful heart to push the Bible away. It does. Because the Bible ain't never lied to nobody. We just come up with our own opinions and think that's supposed to win over the Bible. That's why it says no private interpretations. Because see, a private interpretation is for their own heart. It's not of God. It's of their own way of thinking. But when you hear God inspired, you know that's all God. Because God always wins. We don't. So let's keep going. Let's get to this good stuff here. Woo, Lord. I want to know if I want to use that one or I want to use this one. Because see, I like how when Jesus explained when they will come, so that we will understand that, hey, if Jesus sat there and told us and try to forewarn us about what's to come, the question then lies on this here. Did you pay attention? Did you listen to the warning? So let's hear how Jesus explained this here. The days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. And they shall say to you, see here or see there. Go not after them, nor follow them. For as the lightning that lighteneth out of the one part under heaven shineth unto the other part under heaven, so shall also the Son of Man be in his day. But first must he suffer many things and be rejected of this generation, which he has been still. When we do sin, we reject Jesus. You gotta understand what you're doing when you're doing it. And as it was in the days of Noah, so it shall be also in the days of the Son of Man. What is he referring to? God's wrath. Glory be to God. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. We are an example of that. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. What did Jesus say? And it was in the days of Noah, so it shall be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted and built it. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Oh God. Oh man. God forgive us. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me. For the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. How I know he's going to do that? Because God said this here. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. So that means that's all going to happen. Everything I just read to you. We're still awaiting it to come. And for those who are taken before that come, don't mean that you're going to escape from it, the destruction of it. Because Jesus said this. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice. That is frightening. And shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. Which is explained here. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. What did Jesus say? And shall come forth. They have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. When he calls, you're judged again. So the people that are already long and gone shall hear his voice and shall be risen up. Let's hear the scripture, how they put it. Which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books. That's the second death. Here it comes. According to their works. So everything you have ever said to people and ever done to people, you are still going to be judged by them. You're not going to escape that. That's why you have to make a point to say, I'm sorry now while you can. And let go of some things from other people that hurt you. Because, hey, Jesus Christ said this here. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. It is important to forgive and let go. It is important to believe that there is a God. It is important to believe in the warnings that Jesus Christ himself gave. Because he prophesied of that return. That he shall come back with his Father and his angels in the trump of God. You are going to be destroyed twice. The Bible just testified to that. That is amazing. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books. Which this solidified Jesus' own testimony that those who done good unto resurrection of life and those who have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. You're never going to win with evil. And there's nothing more greater evil than changing the commandments of God. As we already heard that the holy commandments are given by God to teach, so that we learn of him when we leave this place, because all man has a choice to make to live with him or not. And we already heard how you're going to be judged by what you did, and you're not going to escape it. Even the dead were judged by them. You have this is something I'm trying to instill in people's minds. That day is coming. I feel like that little boy that kept saying, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Yeah, Jesus is coming. God will come down and destroy all that have sinned against him. Jesus made a point to tell us about the unforgivable sin. Unforgivable. That means you're going to still got. What does unforgivable means? There's no forgiveness for it. So if you lied on God, or if you lied on Jesus, whose name is supposed to be above every name, that name's supposed to get some respect somewhere along the line. And if you have not shown that name respect the way God intended it to be, and when you heard when Jesus made a point to tell you that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus is the Lord, that he is the Lord. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord, they will say it. And who is he that made them both Lord and Christ? God did. The Father. You can't say that God is Jesus, because that is a lie. That is an unforgivable sin. To blaspheme against the Holy Ghost. That is in the book of Matthew chapter 12. Glory be to God.